وهلأ موعدنا مع جولة الفنون من لندن، خلونا نتابع التقرير التالي.
مرحبا فيكم مشاهدينا. اليوم فقرتنا الفنية رح نقابل المخرجة والمنتجة والسيناريست الفلسطينية فرح النابلسى. بالرغم انها ولدت وربيت بالغربة الا انه رابطها ببلدها الام فلسطين كتير قوي. لما قامت بزيارة فلسطين عدة مرات تأثرت كتير بمعاناة شعبها تحت القمع والحصار. لهيك قررت انها تقوم على عمل افلام قصيرة لانها بتؤمن بقوة الفن وخاصة السينما على توصيل رسالة ومعاناة شعبها إلى باقي العالم.
We think we know, but there is so much more. We have merely dipped our toes into the gentle tide of this colossal injustice. You see, when you go, you don't know where the current will take you.
مرحبا فيكي فرح على قناة الغد وبرنامج النشرة الفنية بالتحديد. Making a short film is a challenge by itself. Having to tell a full story in such a short time is not easy. Imagine if the story is about Palestine and the suffering of Palestinians. So can you please tell me more like the process about making these films, be from A to Z?
Well, I basically made this film on the back of a piece that I had written, and I wrote the piece organically. It was on my way back from a trip to Palestine, my first trip as an adult. And it was a very painful trip because it was the first time I was seeing in actual fact as a grown woman what was happening in Palestine. So I wrote the piece with no intention of making a film. And I wrote it from my heart as someone who was shocked by the systematic, institutionalized process of oppression and occupation. It was only till about 2 years later when I found the piece that I decided I was going to make a film. It's a metaphorical journey. It's not actual in that sense. It's the feeling of what life must be like under occupation, this constant struggle, you know, to keep your head above the degradation and the exhaustion and the, you know, oppression in that sense. So it's not so much Oceans of Injustice is a specific story of a specific person, it's an entire nation.
You've tackled different things like children being detained in that way, and
the checkpoints and the home demolitions and all of it. Yeah.
Probably even the migration of Palestinians from
refugees,
sinking in water.
Yeah.
So I've noticed there's a lot of symbols. It's very symbolic.
Very symbolic. I mean, you've got the idea of, okay, the whole situation with Palestine-Israel is people being taken from their land, moved out of their land, the dispossession of their land. So what's the opposite of land is water. So you have an entire nation that have been essentially, you know, pushed off their land. So the ocean is the symbolism of where they are now. They are in a place that is a struggle. The title Oceans of Injustice is based on the fact that occupation is not sort of one injustice. Underneath that comes so many injustices, like you mentioned, child prisoners, home demolitions, the wall, the blockade of Gaza, administrative detentions, denied medical treatment, denied childhood, water deprivation. today they took my son, is about child prisoners in military detention. I mean, this is a specific injustice that is happening.
I felt like even when I watched it in the theater along with other people, everyone got emotionally engaged with it.
The love of a child is universal. You don't have to be a mother or a father. I mean, you could have a niece or a nephew or your brother or your sister. So the love of children is universal. And so I think anyone can relate to that. And I'm glad you did. You know, that's the idea, is to take personal stories. This happens to be a mother and her son, and let people out there in the world relate to it.
I know the earth will keep spinning around my ache, ignorant of all that has now changed in my world. He threw stones, they accused. So what? Did they assume he would remain silent in the face of this injustice that screams? Stones or no stones, they take them, usually at night, when no one is around to see.
What's next? What's your next plan? And what do you intend to do with all these movies? What's your goal?
The idea, the ultimate goal is to scale my work, of course, so that it reaches far and wide, but to create a sort of mosaic, if you like, of all the different injustices that Palestinians are experiencing in the form of short films that engage people artistically and creatively. It's art, but it is advocacy. It is for people to really start to understand what's happening in reality to Palestinians, because they've been dehumanized, and we need to show the world what's going on.
بتشكرك كتير فرح، وبتشكرك على الأفلام الجميلة يلي عم تحكي معاناة شعب وحتى الوطن العربي بأجمعه. بتشكرك كتير لك.